Today we're going to talk about how we protect minors when they're online.
More and more young people are being recruited into organized crime through the online platforms, and the online platforms do not take their share of responsibility. And when they do not, of course, we need to act.
Suicide, murder, accidents, they are exposed to hate speech and a lot of bullying, and up to 50% of all posts they're seeing are commercial stuff. So it's all about the business model of the big tech giants. They want to earn money on our kids, and they know how to do it. I think we have to stop and say, let's see what we can do to protect users instead of, sending a lot of money and data to Americans. Are we compromising freedom of speech while we are regulating online?
Welcome to a new episode of In Progress from the Progressive Alliance of Socialists and Democrats in the European Parliament. Today, we are tackling one of the most critical challenges of our new digital age. How do we protect children and young people online? We've got two MEPs hashing it out together. Christel Schaldemose from Denmark is Vice President of the European Parliament, a champion of consumer protection, and the leading rapporteur behind the major initiative to strengthen safeguards for minors under the Digital Services Act. Evin Incir from Sweden is an influential member of the Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs Committee. Her work focuses on human rights and fighting organised crime and child sexual abuse on online platforms. Christel and Evin discuss the alarming lack of responsibility from big tech and propose a bold solution: a controversial age limit of 16 for social media access. Is this what we need to shield minors from grooming, addiction and dark patterns? Here's Christel and Evin.
So, dear Evin, today we're going to talk about how we protect minors when they're online. There's no doubt that it's great to be digital, to have connections with your pals, look at a lot of funny videos and maybe even being educated while online. But at the same time, a lot of kids are watching dangerous things, suicide, murder, accidents. They are exposed to hate speech and a lot of bullying. And I even recently learned that in Denmark they've made a survey looking at what is in the feed of the social media of kids, and up to 50% of all posts they're seeing are commercial stuff. So first you have the dangerous things and then you have the commercials. So we're discussing at the moment, how can we protect minors better than we're doing today? So I've made this report and I think we're going to talk about that. But first, before we go into what I suggest, I would like to hear about how is the debate going on in Sweden and how do you look at it?
It's also an important debate, of course, in Sweden. It is the reasons that you mentioned, but also other reasons. For example, so many children and young people are being victims of child sexual abuse, for example, on online platforms. In Sweden, we also see that more and more young people are being recruited into organized crime through the online platforms, and the online platforms do not take their share of responsibility. And when they do not, of course, we need to act. That's why, of course, your report is so important, Christel. Actually, I have one question to you to start with. Yeah. And that is, why does the proposal contain of 16 years of age?
Well, that's a very good question, because when we have been discussing how we make sure that kids and young people are not exposed to all the dangerous content, we were discussing, is it needed to have an age limit?
Yes.
And if we have an age limit, how should we then control it?
Yeah.
And what should that age limit consist of? We suggested no matter what, you're not allowed to get access to social media until you are the age of 13, at least those social media we know today. And then if you can get your parents' consent, then you have the right to be online from the age of 13. And then when you become 16, as we propose, then it's your own choice.
Would you say that there is a broad agreement on the GDPR ages, or is it a proposal from the SD?
Well, I would say it's a compromise between the political groups.
Okay.
But I think the specific age limits can be discussed. But what I was happy about was that we decided that having an age limit with the present online climate is a good thing, because besides all the scary content, it's also the fact that our kids and young people are becoming more and more dependent on being online. You know, they spend hours after hours on a daily basis there as well. So we also need to look at addictive design features we have. So it's about the content, it's about the age, but it's also about the way the platforms and the services online are designed. Ultimately, it's all about the business model of the big tech giants. They want to earn money on our kids, and they know how to do it. When it's only about business, only about earning money, only about harvesting data, I know that's something you have been working with in Liebe as well, then I think we have to stop and say, well, let's see what we can do to protect users instead of, you know, sending a lot of money and data to Americans.
No, definitely. I fully agree on that. And I mean, in the end, it is, as you say, they think about the profit, but they don't think about the societal responsibility. And of course, when different actors do not take their share of responsibility, then democracy must kick in. And democracy is being ensured through legislation, also through regulation, which is in this case, after it was declared that Trump won the elections yet again in the US, the social media platforms and Meta decided to cut on the monitoring positions within their social media platforms, which of course in the end affects our children. It affects also social media platforms' possibility to check, are there illegal activities taking place? Are there harmful practices that are taking place? And this is totally unacceptable. And as a consequence, of course, when actors do not take the responsibility, is we need to ensure that we regulate it.
Exactly. It's the responsibility of us politicians.
Yeah.
The platforms, they are a free society with no control, no enforcement, no nothing. And every time we try to do something as a politician, as you said, then I fight with other politicians saying, no, you shouldn't regulate, and no, you shouldn't do anything because it would hamper freedom of speech, for instance. But do you think that we're doing that? Are we compromising freedom of speech while we are regulating online?
Well, I first and foremost think that what is illegal offline should be illegal, of course, online also, and it is. But we need to ensure, as you said, enforce the legislation also on online. And online platforms nowadays works as our offline streets and squares. And that means that we need to act the same wherever we are. And many children spend days, many hours during the day, spending it on the online platforms. So to say that regulating would be harmful, it's not understanding how harmful right now the deregulation or lack of regulation, I should say, is. But of course, we need to have safeguards on how our data is being used, for example. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have legislation that protect our children.
I like that, saying that what is illegal offline should also be illegal online. And I think that's the way to do it, and we should not stay away from regulating when it is needed, because that is what we do out in the analog society, and we should also do that online.
What we're discussing concerns the social media platform. It doesn't concern all kind of platforms. No. It doesn't concern the whole internet, because sometimes some people made it sound like you cannot go and Google up how you make the best, or how you find the best recipe for tiramisu, for example. That you can still do. So it is about the access to the social media platforms we are talking about, not the whole internet.
That's exactly the idea behind the report. It's about social media platforms. And we need to understand that by making this tool for social media for our kids and young people doesn't mean that we're closing off the internet or taking their phones away from them. It's not the case. We're just trying to restrict access to platforms where the content is problematic and where there's a huge risk of grooming and sexual abuse and things like that. And there's a lot of criminal stuff there. So I think we really have to understand that that is what we're trying to keep our kids away from, which we're doing in the offline world. So we should definitely also do it in the online world.
And if you, for example, want to find information about the nearest healthcare, the nearest school, all of that, you should still be able to access.
Even for a 10-year-old, if you want to learn how to prepare a tiramisu.
Yeah, there are misunderstandings also. So sometimes by purpose, sometimes maybe lack of knowledge.
Well, a combination, I think you're right. It's one of the discussions I've heard quite a lot when I discuss this about an age limit and an age verification and making sure that kids are protected from a lot of things that go on online. And people are saying to me, well, that's a wrong direction to go because the future is digital and we need to make the kids resilient against all the bad things. So it's better that they learn how to be there. And what if they have a special interest that they cannot find friends in the local community or school or whatever, but then they can do it online because they might have some special interest. What is your comments to that? How can we make kids more digital but still protect them?
Through the proposal you have, it just means that from 13 to 16, children will be able to communicate with children and young people. And then from 16, then you have access to the rest.
Exactly.
So I do not buy that argument of that children will not be able to find friends. And I also still believe that you go to school, at schools, you have the possibility to find new friends. And I do not believe either that we should change or we should abolish the offline world just for the online world. We need to be able to be on both.
I'm happy that you're looking at it that way, because that's also how I see it. I think it is possible to make the kids digital, because in the schools they had to learn a little and they can use things and they can see videos and use the tablets and other things from the school without going on social media. So there is a way to be taught by that back in your own home. I guess that parents can also sit next to the kid while they're using the internet and look at things while learning. So I think that it is possible to start being digital even before the age of 13, but going online on social media, being alone and don't know who you meet and don't know what kind of content you see you're faced with. That is scary. And the platforms, they have shown absolutely no interest in protecting kids from dangerous content.
One argument, though, that I can understand is the issue of privacy and integrity. But that also, I think we could ensure through ensuring that there are safeguards in the legislation that we propose. In real life or offline world, we do not say that combating crimes or combating harmful practices would go against upholding integrity and privacy. We say we can do both. If we can do that there, then we can also do it online.
But let's talk a little bit about age verification or age control. How do we control that in a way where it can be privacy protective?
There needs to be tools, of course, and there are tools that ensures that you can verify somebody's age at the same time and ensure that the information that is being gathered is not shared, is not being used. In Sweden, we have this bank-ID that we call it. It's identity verification when you log into your bank account. Of course, that doesn't mean that the bank have the possibility to share all our data with anyone else or use it in a wrong way. There are regulations around it. So we already have tools that we can actually use and improve and strengthen.
And I agree on that. And we also, in the report, talks about different mechanisms to control it, because we have different level of, digitalization in the different member states. So what you have in Sweden, we kind of have the same in Denmark. MitID is it called, and you use it for access to every kind of services where you have to identify yourselves. In the past, it was a real problem, but today, to have privacy-preserving tools to control the age is not a problem at all. If we need to regulate, and we do that for social media platforms, etc., then we should do it, because that's the way to protect. We are here to protect society and citizens, and therefore we suggest in the report also to do more about addictive designs, dark patterns, and harmful, very harmful effects of that. So I'm really happy to know that you, Evin, as a very active member of the Libe Committee here in the Parliament really are supporting this initiative report, because I think we need all the help we can get in order to protect our kids.
And I'm helpful for you being in charge of the report and the very important work that you have done. I think that it requires strong social democrats in order to manage what you have managed. And as you said, we don't always necessarily need more regulation, but we need right regulation. And that I think you have managed.
And that is the aim of this. Thank you very much, Evin, for coming here today to discuss the report.